Today on Stu's Cookery Class, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a full roast beef dinner with roast potatoes, carrots and leek. Now, first I'm going to chop down my potatoes. Smaller ones I'm just going to quarter, and any bigger ones I will chop down into 8, just splitting them in half and in half again and working my way like that. Now I'm doing about 1.5 potatoes per person. We eat quite a lot of roast dinner in our house. But once that's done, we're going to move on to sealing the meat. Now, you want a screaming hot pan, it's really important, and you want to get a nice golden colour all around the meat. You will notice though that I've actually left the layer of fat, I don't seal that, and the reason for that is I want that to slowly melt over the meat as it roasts to keep releasing and keep it moist. Now this joint of beef, according to the supermarket, and they're usually about right, should take about 45 minutes to cook it medium. Now, because I'm sealing this, I've left it out on the side for an hour before I've started to do this as well. And I'm going to give it a good half-hour rest, which is longer than they recommend. It's only going to take about 35 minutes to roast in the oven. So once it's nice and golden, we're going to take it out and put it to one side. You'll see here I'm not wasting any of the fat from the beef, and that's going straight in my roasting tin. I'm then going to add in my potatoes along with my carrots and some sliced chunky bits of leek as well. I'm also going to add in my cloves of garlic here, but I'm just going to crush them with my palm just to break them down slightly to help them release their flavour. Now at this point I'm just going to give everything a really good mix together, and I actually found that the fat from the beef in the pan wasn't really enough. I couldn't feel it coating it, so I drizzled on some extra oil. I'm also then adding a good pinch of salt. Now I'm using sea salt here just because it has great flavour, but table salt's fine. It then wants to go in the oven for 20 minutes on 160, and you should just see that they're starting to cook. They're not really softened down yet, but we're going to give those a bit of a mix, and then they're going to go back in with the beef. Again on 160, but this time for 35 minutes. Now at this point the beef should be ready. Mine's about a 700 gram joint, but the easiest way to do it is if you're resting it really well, like I'm going to, and if you've had it out for an hour before, and if you've sealed it, is to just take a minute per 100 grams off the recommended cooking time. Now my beef's had 35 minutes, and my potatoes are going to need in total about an hour and 20. So these are going to have 2 blasts on 200 degrees, and I'm going to give them a stir in between. And I've just cranked it up so it's really hot. You get some crispy bits, you get a bit of colour on there, and it just helps bring out the flavour. Now let's say you're cooking a much larger piece of beef. You've taken a minute per 100 grams off the recommended cooking times, and it's going to take an hour. What you'd need to do is put the beef on with your potatoes right at the start, give it that hour, and then set it to side to rest, crank the temperature up, and still give the potatoes those 2 10-minute blasts. Now you'll see here that I've actually got a bit of a sauce on, and I've drained my resting meat juices into that, and that just adds a bit of extra flavour even if all you're using is bisto. Now you'll notice here when I'm slicing into the meat, there's a little bit of juice coming out, but there's not liquid pooling everywhere. That's because the meat's really well rested, the moisture's all staying in, and that to me looks perfect. Nice and pink, but still cooked, just how I like it. And if you want to be able to add Yorkies and a homemade gravy to your roast dinner, check out my links in the end screen. If you like this video, hit that button, and if you really liked it, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.